Hello, everybody. I think I'm live. It says, oh goodness, everything's gone crazy this afternoon. Okay, I think I'm live. I hope I'm live. Hello, and welcome to our show. I'm Kath Armstrong, creator of the Cheapskates Club, where our goal is to live life debt-free, cashed up and laughing. And this is a YouTube live show. The voice and hand you may see or hear around me is Hannah. Hannah will be our live chat moderator tonight. If you'd like to join live chat, you need to be logged into your YouTube channel. Now, that's what YouTube calls an account. They call it your channel or your Gmail account. And that's a YouTube thing. It's not a me thing. So if you could do that. And also just a reminder, if you have questions tonight, if you could put them in the chat in all capital letters, that helps them to stand out. Even when we slow it down, the chat flies by really quickly sometimes when there's lots of people talking all at once. And it's really hard to pick up the questions and they get lost. And of course, I'll do my best to answer them at the end of the show. Now, if you don't have either a YouTube channel or a Gmail account, you can leave a comment for me or anyone else in the comments section underneath me here. And if it's a question for me, I'll do my best to answer it for you too. Now, it is Tuesday, the 22nd of June, 2021, and it is 7:31 p.m. So we're on time, guys. Before we get started, could I ask you all to just give us a thumbs up? And if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please click the subscribe button. And then if you click the little bell icon that's right next to it, you'll be notified every time we go live or upload a new video. Just two simple things, but they really help us with our YouTube rankings and so on. Now, I have a couple of things to show you from questions that have popped up during the week. Canned beef, canned mince. Yeah, that's it. That's my canned mince. Now, that's a pint jar. It's around 500 grams, which is roughly what I use per meal for us, depending on what I'm making, of course. Now, that's just straight mince. Now, you'll see there's very little fat in that. And, in fact, there's more than I would actually like. I tend to like my canned meats to not have half of that in there, but that's what happened with this mince. Now, do you remember last week I was able to get marked down mince at half price? That's what this is. It's all marked down. I've labelled the jar. You probably can't see it because of the glare. Woo, where am I going? Come on. Anyway, it says 19th of 6/21, so I know when it was canned and to use it up. That was that. Now, I got some more over the weekend. Yay, team. It was $7 a kilo this time, but it was a manager's special or something. Apparently, they'd overstocked, and so the mince was half price at Coles. So, not quite half price, $7 instead of the 12. So I got some more because honestly, guys, it has been so long since we had mince at that price that I just couldn't not get it. And of course, because we've been eating from our pantry and using the jars, I had jars to use up, scrabbled around to find enough lids because they are still scarce as hen's teeth. In fact, I think you'll probably find a hen's tooth before you find a lid. I had a lovely message from, oh my goodness, Jen in Western Australia, who put me onto somewhere where I could get jars, new jars. The price of jars, guys, just skyrocketed. They've gone up nearly 400% since this all started in February last year. It's outrageous. But anyway, I was able to get some because I really need them. And I tend to look at jars as an investment because they're reusable. They will be used over and over and over. Some of my jars I've been using for 20 years. So And some of the Fowler's jars were secondhand when I got them, and I've been using those as long as we've been married. So that's over 30 years. So jars last if you look after them. So I look at those as an investment. So even though it really hurt me to pay the price, I did it. It's an investment. Now, the other thing I want to show you, something really cute. I'm part of a group of ladies gets together once a month in person when we can, and we make cards. And then we make all sorts of different cards. I do my cards, some for our shop, some for us to use as a family, and most of them go to, I have 2 nursing homes, a school, and a CWA group that I give them to. And they sell them as fundraisers or use them as fundraisers, or the nursing homes use them for the residents or for the staff for their birthdays or Christmas or whatever. So I keeps my mind active of other things, and I think that's my giving back at the moment. But on Saturday when we got together, when we get together each month, one of us takes turns in doing a tutorial for everybody else. And this is what we made. Is that not just the cutest little thing? It holds 3 Ferrero Rochers. Now that says happy birthday. But look at this. It's got a little tag in it that you can write a message on, or, say to, from, or whatever. And it just pops back in there. Now, is that not just the cutest little gift? And I'm showing you because I'm getting ready to do our Christmas in July that we do every year. And I usually just post links to different things that we've done. But this year I thought I'd mix it up a bit and do a video each day for Christmas in July. So 31 videos of different things that we can do to make Christmas easier. And I think especially, I say this every year, but especially this year, I think Christmas will be tough for a lot of people. Not tough so much as, I think we're getting used to sometimes not being able to be with family or friends, but tough in that there's still a lot of people out of work. There's still a lot of people working short hours. There's a lot of financial angst in our society, in our communities at the moment. So I thought I'd start early and try and make really interesting little nifty things that we can all do. And trust me, if I can do that, you can do that. How cute is it? It's so cute. And it holds 3 little Ferrero Rochers, but it doesn't have to. It could hold 3 little pots of lip balm, or 3 little pots of scented solid perfume, or it could hold a lipstick. It could hold all sorts of things, a tissue, a hanky, a nice monogram hanky was what I was trying to think of. All sorts of things could go in that little box. And how cute is it? Really cute. And it wouldn't cost a lot to make. And if you have kids, I can remember on Saturday I went, I'm so sorry my kids aren't at school anymore, because, at the end of the year you do the teacher gift, the crossing lady, the tuck shop lady, the library lady, the reading lady, all sorts of. It's nice to give them a little gift if you can. How cute would that be? And it's not going to take up room. It's not another, world's best teacher mug or something, although I'm sure they appreciate them, but just something different. So I thought, show you those, get that started. But yeah, for whoever wanted to know about the canned meat, that's it. Now, it is pressure canned. It is not hot water bathed, and it is pressure canned in a pressure canner. A pressure canner is not a pressure cooker. You cannot do this in your pressure cooker. You can hot water bath in your pressure cooker, no issues at all. You cannot pressure can in your pressure cooker. It's not safe. It doesn't get up to enough. The pressure doesn't get up high enough for long enough, and it just is not safe and won't work, guys. And I know there's an Instapot that says it can do pressure canning. That has yet to actually be tested and approved by any organisation other than Instapot. So I wouldn't be trying it. Okay, just to let you know. But yeah, pressure canning is very different to hot water bathing, and it is very, very different to pressure cooking. Two totally different things. Okay. Kathleen would love a show on pressure canning. Oh, I suppose I could. Could you bear it? Because I get on my hobby and I like it. So Joy, yes, 3 mini jams, perfect. Those little the little individual jam jars, you know, the ones that you get with your breakfast if you stay at a motel or go to a fancy restaurant or something. They give you the little jars of jam. Keep them. But if you have a coffee shop or a cafe or a cake shop that uses them nearby, they usually toss those out. So if you go to them and ask them, can they save them for you? It won't hurt to ask, and they probably will, because they don't want to have to toss them out. I collected dozens, over 100. I collected from a coffee shop, not last year, the year before. Now that was way too many for what I needed for that project, but they just went through the dishwasher and got washed, and I used them. And I was using them for little lip balms and little solid perfumes. You can buy new lids for them. If you want to seal them, you can buy new lids for them. And those lids are not in short supply for some reason. They're easy to get. But those little jam jars, yeah, just ask someone with a cafe or a coffee shop or a motel or something if they will save those for you. Just get them to toss there and have to wash them. Just get them to toss them in a box, or if you've got an ice cream container, give it to them and collect them once a week. Okay. Alrighty. So, Kath, what is the difference between pressure canning and Fowler's Vacola preserving? Okay, Beverly, or Bev, I saw it up there. Most people call you Bev. Let me know if it's wrong. Okay, pressure canning. You see that lid is rock solid on. It's this jar goes into the pressure canner. It has about 2.5 inches of water in the bottom of it. The lid goes on, it's locked on tight, and it's brought up to pressure. And once it reaches the correct pressure for your altitude and whatever you're cooking because of canning, because they are all slightly different, you start your timing from there. And it actually uses pressure, literally pressure, the steam and pressure building up in the pot, pushes the lid down, forces the air out of in there. This is a very simplistic way of doing it. Forces the air out of in there and seals it. So there is nothing in that jar. Now it gets very, very hot, which is why I prefer to, if I can, raw pack, which just means I put raw ingredients in, because it gets so hot that it does actually cook whatever in the jar. It gets very, very hot in the middle. That's pressure canning. And then, of course, once the time's up, you need to turn it off, let the pressure come back down to 0 before you open the canner to take them out, because do we all know what happens if you open anything under pressure before the pressure's dropped? You don't want to be burnt. It will explode on you. Hot water bathing, as in Fowler's Vacola. I don't have a jar here, but you've got your jar, put your rubber ring on the top, put the lid on, put the clamp on. It goes into the pot and you cover it with water. Now your jar, if it's that size, needs 2 inches of water over the top of it for your hot water bathing. So you've got your jars in and 2 inches of water over the top of the tallest jar. You bring it up slowly, bring it up to the boil. When it starts to do the rolling boil thing, turn it down so it's still boiling but not going crazy, and you start your timing from there, and that will seal it. Now, that's fine for fruits. jams, things like that can all be hot water bathed. I hot water bath the caramelized onions when I do them. They are hot water bathed. What else do I hot water bath? Some pickles, depending on the recipe. So that's pretty much it's fairly the process in terms of, you know, making sure you've got sterilized jars and everything's spotlessly clean and whatever is pretty much the same. And they both still have to cook in the particular, whether it's a Fowler's Vicola pot or a pressure canner, but the process from there is different. Yeah. Now, once you've taken them out of the pressure canner, you let them cool down, take the rings off, make sure they've sealed. Now, sometimes they won't seal. And if that's the case, then you either use it straight away, or depending on what it is, you can just redo it. So put it through the pressure canner again. Wipe your jars down, put them on the shelf, and they're shelf stable for years and years and years, which is what I want these days. I don't want a lot of stuff in my freezers at the moment, especially with talk of power outages and things like that. I'd really rather not have a lot in the freezers. So that's pretty much, in a very broad sense, the difference. Yeah, high acid foods, tomatoes, stuff like that for pressure canning. All right, now let's get started with tonight's show. We might be here all night, and it's sort of what we're talking about, isn't it? So, you know, we're still talking about pantry security, so that's really good, because my pantry, that's my blankie, that's my security blanket, is knowing that I can look in the pantry and go, yes, we can eat, or yes, I can clean the house, or yes, I can do the washing, or yes, you know, that's my security blanket, probably more so even than money in the bank, guys. I know if I can go to the pantry and see that we can eat for however long, I can just go, breathe, and I can face whatever's happening at the time. And because let's face it, life happens. And that's not being flippant. That's me being grateful that life happens and that it happens to me. Because when you think of the alternative, it's not nearly as much fun, is it? All right. Now, also during the week, some of you mentioned being scared of the future, being worried about shortages, worried about power outages, worried about all sorts of things, unemployment, pandemics, not being able to go on holiday. Oh, that was me. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. And if I'm scaring you, if what I'm talking about is scaring you, I am so sorry, because it's not meant to be. Be prepared. You have the skills to prepare for the future. And look, it can be any version of the future. It doesn't have to be a disaster. It could just be that you, like me, like the idea or love the idea of never paying full price for groceries. So you're always prepared. You keep your pantry full and you're prepared for the price rises. They don't affect you so much. You get more bang for your dollar. I love doing that. Or perhaps you're a rural household and you need to look ahead and plan for things like bushfires or droughts or floods. We have friends who are regularly flooded in from probably early May through to the end of October, mid-November. They can be flooded in minutes. She's always prepared. She always has her pantry full. She doesn't have to worry about that. It could be that you live in the tropics and you need to be prepared in case of a cyclone. Look, let's face it, it's much more fun to be prepared than it is to be caught out. So please don't be scared. Just prepare. Just prepare. It's really It's really liberating to be prepared. And I really hope tonight's show will encourage you to get started if you haven't, and if you've already started, to encourage you to keep going, and that I can show you how you can build your pantry to what you want it to be without spending any extra money. No extra money, guys. For over 26 years, almost 27 years, ouch, our pantry has been full. It has been full enough, it was, full enough to feed us back then for at least a month without going to the supermarket or the butcher or the greengrocer or the deli or the bakery. Now it can feed us for longer. I built that pantry on our budget without spending any extra money. I didn't dip into savings. I didn't sell things to have extra cash to go and buy groceries. And yes, it was then and still is built using cash. I've most definitely gone back to a cash budget. And I don't care what anyone says. They don't want my cash, they don't get my business. Back then, I did use some rewards points, but our grocery bill was never more than $200 for the month. And that was when Flybuys started, and that was the first rewards card I ever had. The reward was 1 point for every $5 spent back then, and it took a long time to earn enough cash or enough points to cash in for even a $10 voucher. It took ages. In fact, my points usually expired before I got enough. I just didn't do enough shopping. I have to clarify the use of I tonight, and I say I because while Wayne supports me, he's more the helper than the planner. He's the worker bee, I'm the queen bee. How's that? Is that a good explanation? But we do share the workload. It's just not me just doing it all. He helps too. But if I keep saying I, that sounds very egotistical, and I don't mean it to be, because it's a team effort here. So how do you fill your pantry that will keep you for a month or 3 months or a year or however long you want without spending any extra money? Well, first thing is you need to know what you use. Yes, I'm back on that again. Inventories, making lists. That means you will need to keep your shopping list for at least a month, because you need to create a very detailed, very precise, perpetual shopping list. Do it once, guys, and then you've got it forever. Now, I was listening to a podcast last year sometime. I think time gets away from me these days. And the speaker was saying how she didn't use shopping lists. They were just absolutely pointless, didn't need them, waste of time. She just bought what she wanted on sale or marked down, and her shopping list didn't save her any money at all. And I was just, you can see my eyes rolling. You can imagine them, can't you? Because I was like, oh my goodness. Seriously? What a crock. No, what a crock that is. It is just no. Just buying what you want is impulse buying, and not buying to meet your needs. That won't save you money. Now, she did go on to say that she shopped 2 or 3 times a week to top up because they'd run out of something or she'd forget something. Of course, I can't say of course, because she didn't know what she needed the first time she went to the shops. She didn't have a list. Okay. So you need a shopping list. I found really early on in this journey for us that most of us, we especially, but most of us buy and use the same few things over and over and over. We are creatures of habit. We stick to the same ingredients and brands, like we stick to the same stores. I don't know whether it's out of habit, it's out of laziness, and I don't mean sit on the lounge and do nothing lazy, but more stuck in a rut type of lazy. I don't know whether it's because we're brainwashed into thinking that we can't do things for ourselves, so we have to follow the advertised routine. Oh, well, tonight, guys, you are going to change all that. You don't want to do that anymore. You want to build your pantry on your budget without spending any extra money. So keep your shopping list, write your shopping list, and keep them. Please don't tell me that you're like that lady and don't use a shopping list, because you need a shopping list. I don't care whether it's on the back of an envelope, it's on the back of the kids' homework, on your phone, whatever it is, but you need a shopping list. Okay, if only to make sure that you can stick to your grocery budget. Okay, just quickly, most of the people who tell me they can't stick to their grocery budget, once I get talking to them and we have the chat, either don't have a shopping list because they sincerely believe that they can remember everything they need, or they add things to the list as they shop. So in other words, they impulse buy the extras. If it's not on the list, you don't buy it. That's the rule, guys. You need a shopping list and you need to stick to the list to stay on your budget, whether you want to build your pantry or not. That's just common sense. Trust me on this. I have years and years of experience with grocery shopping to fill a pantry on a budget, a tight budget. I've said it, our budget is tight, and it works. My method works. So when I say you need a shopping list, trust me, you need a shopping list. Now, to get started, make a list of what you buy and how much you buy and the size of each item. Quantity, when it comes to this sort of stocking up shopping list, quantity and size are important, because if you are shopping weekly now and, for instance, buy a small box of Wheat Bix each week, then perhaps realising that you are doing this and buying one bigger box once a month will not only save you some shelf space in the pantry and energy in hauling home those 3 extra boxes, but it might save you some money too. That's what we're trying to do here, guys. Get more bang for our buck. So check the unit price. And I know I harp on about unit prices a bit too, but it's really important. Unit prices are important. Bulk means bigger, doesn't mean cheaper. Look it up in the dictionary. As an aside on unit pricing, Wayne likes Nescafe instant coffee. It's what he's always had, and I'm happy to buy it for him. He works hard. I'll buy it for him if that's what makes him happy. Now, I usually buy the 500-gram tins on sale, and I've done that just about all our married life. But check this, guys. Sometimes the 500-gram tin on sale is more expensive than the 100-gram jars when they're on sale. Check your unit price. Now, this last week, the tins were $14 for the 500 grams, but the 100-gram jars were cheaper for the same quantity if you checked your unit price. It just meant I had to buy 5 jars. I was still buying the bulk coffee. I was just buying it in smaller bulk. You can buy in bulk, but remember, sometimes bulk isn't one huge quantity. Sometimes it can be 5 smaller jars of coffee. Do you see what I'm saying with the shopping list? If you're in the habit of buying a small version of something each week, look into whether or not buying a bigger size that will last 2 weeks or a month or however long you want to space out your shopping will be cheaper. Most of the supermarkets have unit pricing on the tags, on the shelves and things now. So it's not even as if you have to do it in your head or with a calculator anymore. It's there for you. It's easy to compare. I think Costco is the only supermarket-y food type store I've encountered in the last couple of years that doesn't do the unit price on their tags. Trust me when I say it annoys me. It really annoys me. But that's all right. I take my price book to Costco so I can compare prices. So check your unit pricing. and check that sometimes bulk might be cheaper, sometimes it might not. Now, your shopping list is going to be detailed. It's going to be that detailed that you'll know the unit price. I'm just warning you, because you really need to pay attention to the details. I know it sounds like a lot of work, but the best thing is, because this is a perpetual shopping list, you only do this once. Then it's simply a rinse and repeat process. So once you've done it once, it's done. You just copy it for the next time. So take the time you work out to, take the time you need to work out how much of each thing you need, how much you want it to last. Whether it's for a fortnight, you might want to switch to monthly shopping. You might want to switch to monthly shopping, but try and build up a 3-month stockpile. Then go over it again. Once you've done that, go over it again. Make sure that you have everything on it. Band-Aids, not a regular, every week buy, probably once a year in our house. We don't use them a lot, but Band-Aids or soy sauce, noodles, I don't know, custard powder, things that make your shopping list detailed. Put everything on it. You don't have to buy it all the time, but you just need it on the list so that you don't forget to buy it. Include everything you can think of, whether it's something you use every day or something you use occasionally. And then, before you go shopping, you get online and check the specials. Now, you can get them delivered to your inbox, email. I don't know that anyone does the paper catalogues, especially not in the cities anymore. They might in rural areas, don't know. But check the specials. If something on your list is on sale, make sure you buy it. Put a tick next to it so you know you're going to get it. Now, if it's on half-price sale, then you'll buy 2. That's just common sense. You're paying the same amount of money, 2 for 1. That will help you build your stockpile. I would suggest that you buy enough of the on-sale items to last until the next sale. So remember, most things are on either a 4-week or 6-week sales cycle or a seasonal sales cycle, depending on what it is. And pretty much if they're on sale at Supermarket A this week, then guaranteed next week or the week after, they'll be on sale probably for the same price at Supermarket B. If it's not the same price, it's only going to be a cent or 2 different. Now, we are blessed here, really, most of us blessed, to have at least the 3 major supermarkets close enough to us to shop regularly and to be able to shop between them. I know, I said it, shop around, guys. You're wanting to build a pantry, and you're wanting to build that pantry without spending extra money. So you need to put a little bit of effort in. You just have to. That means that, you need to shop around. Most of the major shopping centres we have at least 2 supermarkets, if not all 3 of the majors in them. Especially, capital cities, that's pretty much a given. So for most of us, it's just a matter of walking from one to the next in the shopping centre. Now, if that's not the case for you, chances are that you have them close enough to be able to get to them in the one shopping trip anyway. You might have to change car parks or drive a kilometre down the road or something, but it's still feasible and doable. Now, don't want to hear any whining, don't want to hear anyone say, oh, I can't be doing this, no, kids won't let me do it, I don't have time. No excuses. If you want to build your pantry without spending any extra money, you need to put the effort in the beginning. And this is the beginning. You only need to do this once. You need to do the groundwork. It is what it is. Nobody's going to do it for you. You need to do it. Now, I would also suggest that you aim to have at least a quarter of the items on your grocery list on sale each time you shop. Again, you have to check the sales cycle. If you shop the sales cycle, you'll be able to do that easily. Look for items that are between, I think they go 20 to 50% off. Sometimes you might find more. That's really good. And then when you're in the supermarket, check the clearance aisles, look for cheaper brands that will save you money, alternatives, things like that too. That always helps as well, because remember, we're trying to get more for our grocery money. Now, a good example of this is I found bottles of the Fructus shampoo and conditioner on clearance at Woolworths about 7, maybe 8 years ago for $1 a bottle. Now, there was another woman there, and we were looking at, we were eyeing it off, and she took 2 and I took a couple. And then I just said to her, do you need more? And she said, I wouldn't mind some more. I said, neither would I. So we split it. We cleared the shelf between us. Nobody else seemed to be taking it, so we cleared the shelf between us. Poor Hannah was like trolley full of shampoo and conditioner, tiny little bit of food. It worked for us because Thomas came out, number 1 son, number 2 son came out last week to say, oh, Mum, we need shampoo in our bathroom. He'd opened the last bottle of that shampoo last week. So for 7 years at least, I haven't had to buy a shampoo or conditioner for the kids' bathroom. It was a lot of shampoo and conditioner. It filled the entire bottom shelf of the bathroom cupboard when we first brought it home. And it lasted so long because we always dilute it 50-50 with water. And my kids know, little tiny bit in their hand, make sure their hair is properly wet before they start to bubble it up. That's it. That's how they shampoo their hair. And tiny little boys, I don't think boys even use conditioner. So it lasted. But what that meant was that for all this time, I haven't had to buy shampoo or conditioner for their bathroom. So that money has been freed up and in my grocery budget to allow me to buy other things. Okay. And the other thing to do is to buy 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, if you have the extra cash in the budget, just a couple of extra items to build the pantry each time you shop. If so, for instance, peanut butter. Sorry, if you're peanut allergy, choose Vegemite. It might not be on sale, but you've managed to get your tea bags at 30% off and you've scored cereal at 25% off. So that freed up that money in your budget from the full price tea bags and the full price cereal. So you know that you only have 2 jars of peanut butter on the shelf. You've checked, that's, they're in the pantry and it's a staple. The kids love it. And hubby's going to make himself a peanut butter sandwich for supper every night. So you know that you'll use it and you'll need more. Use the money you didn't spend on the tea bags and cereal to add a few extra jars of peanut butter to the pantry. Excuse me. I need a glass of water. You'll build up a little mini stockpile of peanut butter or Vegemite or whatever it is. Now remember, you're only going to use your budgeted grocery money. You're not using any extra money. But you're going to aim to use it all up without going over budget with your shopping. Something that might help you build your pantry, especially if you're starting to build it from scratch right now, is to have one on the shelf and one as a backup. Now that simply means that at the very least, you always have 2 of everything that you use on your shopping list in the pantry. So one will be open and you're using it. Go back to the peanut butter. You've got one open using and one waiting to be used as a backup, so that you've got one in stock to use when the other one's empty. It just means that if something goes pear-shaped, if you get the flu or the kids get the grumps and you can't take them out, or the car needs new tyres or something, you don't need to worry about shopping. You can shop your pantry because you know it's full. It's got stuff in there. And then when you open the item that's waiting, the waiting item off the shelf, just add it to the list to be replaced. Make sure to buy it the next shopping day so that you have another backup waiting. If you start shopping like that, you will immediately see more groceries for your money. And you'll see your pantry grow, and it will grow quite quickly. Best of all, you won't be spending any extra money. There will be your grocery budget will be your grocery budget. Now, you might look and see that, gone a bit overboard on the tea bags and the soap because they were on half price and you stocked up. So cross them off the list. Don't buy them for a few weeks and use that portion of the grocery budget to buy other things. Things that you need: peanut butter, Vegemite, jam, cereal, rice, pasta, whatever it is. And then when the tea bags and the soap come back on sale, put them back on the list to buy again, discounted. Because remember the sales cycle, every 4 weeks, 6 weeks or something, and sometimes they're seasonal. Make a note in your diary or in your planner or on your calendar, so that the next time tea's due to come on sale, then you can add it to your shopping list. When you do this, you never pay full price for your groceries. You'll fill your pantry and you won't be spending any extra money. If your grocery budget's $100, you'll spend $100 to fill those pantry shelves. Building a usable stockpile I'm thinking here, that hasn't cost a fortune, takes time. But you can do it without spending a cent more than you've budgeted, and yet the actual value of your stockpile, of your pantry, will be a lot more than what you paid for it. That's a great return on your investment. You should think of your pantry as an investment. You put a lot of time and money into it, so it is an investment, and you want the return to be what never paying full price for groceries and not having to worry about feeding your family ever again. So, have I totally confused everyone? Now, do I have questions? Because remember, questions need to be in capitals, guys. And I'll come across and see if I can find them. Okay. Now, okay, so we're still in Candace, aren't we? Let me go right back to, sorry, folks. Canning. Sorry, Kathleen, pressure canners, Presto run about $360. You sometimes get them a bit cheaper. This has probably been answered. A water bath can be any stock pot. You don't need a particular pot for a water bath. It can be your big 10-litre soup pot can be used for hot water bathing. You don't need a particular, you don't need a particular pot or anything to do it. Now, I know Fowlers now have the electric ones. That's fine, but really a stock pot with a lid and a cake rack that will fit in the bottom, because you don't ever want your jars on the bottom of the pot. put them on a rack so they're lifted a little, will work just as well. So you don't need a particular bottling outfit. In fact, a few years ago, I was looking at the Ball do a hot water bath bottling outfit, and it's literally just a stock pot with a rack in the bottom. You've probably got a big deep pot, a big deep soup pot at home that will do as long as it's deep enough to cover your bottles with 2 inches of water, and it's got a lid, it will work. All right. Okay. Yeah, Kerry answered your question and said Presto up to 250. I think I saw them for 360 recently. All American would be my absolute dream, but I'm not paying over. They're closer to $1,000 now, and that's out of my budget. Just absolutely out of my budget. If you, they're starting to pop up on Buy Swap Sell. Guys, I noticed one a couple of weeks ago, and I was really annoyed because I actually messaged the guy and said sold, and then about 20 minutes later, someone else put sold on the actual post, and she jumped up and down and said she got it first, which, going by the timestamp, she didn't. But anyway, I wasn't going to fight with her over it. So it would have been for Hannah. So keep your eye open, because a lot of people went crazy last year. April, May, June last year, people went nuts and bought canning jars and lids and rings and the canners and the Fowler's sets and whatever, without actually thinking that they're going to have to use them. They're going to have to do something to fill those jars and stuff. A lot of people didn't realise, I'm sure, so they're slowly starting to come in. So keep an eye on Buy Spot Sells. Okay. Beverly, you want a Fowler's Ricola. Okay, so I wouldn't bother. I would try just get the jars, and someone told me that you can get the jars at Bunnings now. Use your stock pot. It will do the same job. As long as your jars, rings and lids and the clamps are fine, the stock pot will do the same job, and you'll save a bit of money. It depends where you are, whether you can get fruit and veggies that's cheap enough. And I'm not sure what you mean by cheap enough, because it doesn't have to be really cheap to be able to bottle it. Produce is just going to keep getting more and more expensive. The other thing is, if you can buy in summer, now I love summer fruits. So the stone fruits, apricots, peaches, plums, nectarines, I absolutely love them. And I can't grow enough. For me. So if I could buy them by the case, and most greengrocers, even your little local shopping strip greengrocer, if you go in and say, I would like a case of peaches, a case of apricots, a case of plums, can you get them for me? They will say yes. You can ask them for a price. They will probably give you a very rough price going on what they are paying, and bearing in mind that next time they go to the market, prices may have changed. It will give you a rough idea of how much you're paying, but they will do that for you. So you can think of it that way. But it's just having them shelf stable that helps, not having to rely on them in the freezer. Okay. All right. Takes me all year to save up Flybuys points for Christmas, but it does cover all my food. Well done, Lisa. I used to, Lisa, with her Flybuys, here we go. Here we go. This work, yep. I'm liking this, guys. This is really nifty. When I used to take Mum shopping, Lisa, I would give her my Flybuys card and she'd use it for her shopping because I don't do a lot of Coles shopping. I don't buy much. I'm lucky to get a petrol voucher once a fortnight. But Mum would, do her shopping there. And so it sort of built up quite quickly. But, of course, I don't have Mum anymore, so I can't do that. And I did sort of notice it. Yeah, Barb, I always use a list too because I know my mind is not going to remember everything. All right. Veronica says she has an app for her lists if she never forgets the phone. I'm always leaving my phone behind. I actually had to turn my phone into my purse so that I wouldn't leave it behind because I just never think about price. Yes, unit pricing is good. Yeah. All right. Oops, lost. Oops. Great. Kerry, I haven't checked the NQR specials. NQR have UH2 milk, $1 per carton. Now, NQR is a discount grocer / clearance store here in Victoria. That's pretty good. All right, now. Everything. Buying in bulk. Okay. Kerry did what I did with the shampoo and conditioner. She did it when Avon folded. It doesn't go off. It might separate. Give it a shake. It will mix back in together. Now, I dilute it anyway. Need more water, guys. I dilute it anyway. So we get twice as long. Like I said, the boys don't use conditioner, or at least not all the time anyway. I think they're just in, wash their hair and get out. That is buying in bulk. But it's buying in bulk wisely because Kerry bought something that it won't go off and she'll use it. Now, it might take a long time, but it will save her a lot of money over that time. How to explain it? It frees up money in her grocery budget too for other things over that time period. So you just need to remember, bulk means bigger. It doesn't necessarily mean cheaper. Maybe we need to do a bulk show too, because often it's not. And often bulk isn't really bulk. Sorry, guys, but 1.25 kilos of sausages is not bulk. It's a couple of meals. It's not bulk. Bulk would be 20 kilos of sausages or 60 kilos of chicken. That's bulk. Yeah, okay. Pressure canning. Okay, well, right, I'll think about it. Beverly found, yep, peanut butter. Okay, cool. Here we go. This could be another show too about the slush fund, and we talk about this all the time. When you're building your pantry, like we're talking about today, you won't have a slush fund because the aim is to use all that money, all your grocery budget, to build your pantry. Once you've built your pantry, then we can move on to a slush fund. That's a different thing. But it's a great look. Having a slush fund is simply any leftover grocery money is put aside and used to buy specials or to stock up when something's on sale, or if you run out of something and you have to pay full price for it, it's not going to be as crippling if you've got money in your slush fund. But the end result is the same, because at the end of the year, you will have just spent your grocery budget. You'll have a lot more for your money, but you will have just spent your grocery budget. So you're using, instead of putting, you know, if you've got $5 left over or $10 left over, instead of just putting it in your purse and then it gets frittered away on something, it stays in your grocery budget. So you never go over budget. I know my grocery budget is X amount of dollars every year. It doesn't change. That's what it is, because that's how much I spend. All right, now let's see. Folks, Veronica here posted over on Cheapskates Chatter. Now, Cheapskates Chatter is our Facebook group. You are welcome to join our group, but if you do, there are 2 questions that you have to answer. If you don't answer the questions, you don't get accepted into the group. And they're really simple questions. There's no, they're not going to tax your brain at all. Really simple questions, but they must be answered. Both of them must be answered, or you will not be accepted. And we do that not because we don't want you, but because we don't want the spammers. I don't want the random spammers coming in and ruining our group. We have a really good group and we get some really interesting things talked about and going on there. So, and I don't want that ruined. That's why I have 2 questions that you have to answer. And once you answer them, you're automatically accepted. But if you don't answer them, you're not accepted. So if you've tried to join us in the past and you haven't answered both questions, perhaps go back. If you want to, go back and try and join us again. But remember, 2 questions, both must be answered. But Veronica posted over on Cheapskates Chatter earlier this evening a comparison, a price chart on herbs and the prices and different things. The price per kilo was pretty much on unit pricing, but it showed the prices between different brands and packaging. It's really interesting. We've talked about this before, but that is a great chart. It is eye-opening. Go and have a look and see. Vicky, is the same meat as well? Remind me, what was I talking about, Vicky? So, but I know Twinings tea, half price at Woolworths this week, $5.60, starting tomorrow. Cool. I love Twinings tea. The English breakfast is my favourite at the moment. I've noticed Barb's got the Twinings tea at half price. I've noticed that Coles have started where it used to always go on half price fairly often. Now it's 30% off. And then the next one will be half price, and the next one's 30% off. So they sort of rotated a bit. Okay, so Kathleen has got 60 jars which need clips with rings and lids. So they're the Fowler's style jars. Okay, I wouldn't pressure can with those. I wouldn't pressure can with them. In fact, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure Fowler's jars, the Fowler's Vacola style jars with the rubber ring, then the lid, then the clip over the top, are officially not recommended for pressure canning. I'd need to check that. Kathleen, I'll check that and I will get back to you. I'll leave a comment and I'll check it and get back to you, Kathleen. but I'm pretty sure Fowler's jars can't be used for pressure canning. Sorry, do I look like I'm Mr. Magoo or something? Joy. Some people still think that. Okay. Catherine stocks up on Milo, back to school time. Cool. I love Milo, straight out of the tin. Or heaps. Wendy did the same thing. We all must like clean hair, guys. We all stock up on the shampoo and conditioner. Kerry, I wouldn't do a live on canning. I just couldn't. I need to concentrate. When I'm canning, I need to concentrate. So it would be a video. Okay, here's talking about bulk and buying and stocking our pantries by doing the, when it's on half price and whatever. So Joy says she's reached the stage now where she just buys big, which she means lots, of the 50% off items. Once you've built your pantry, your way of shopping will change. Don't want to overload you with too much information. Once you've built your pantry, your way of shopping changes because you go into maintenance mode. You're not in building mode anymore. You're in maintenance mode, and your way of shopping does change. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Pasta jars with new lids, depending on what you are pressure canning, because it will depend on how long it is in the canner, can be done. It's not recommended for everything though. I'm a bit of a stickler when it comes to most of the time I'm like, best before 3 months ago, it'll be fine. It's a best before. I can be flexible on some things, but there are some things I won't go outside the guidelines on, simply because it's proven to not be safe. And pressure canning and the way to pressure can is one of them. And I know there's lots of people that go, well, my great grandma did, dill pickles in sauce or something, and she just water bathed them and we're fine and blah, blah, blah. That might be the case, but it's a fluke. If you've ever had salmonella, if you have ever had really severe food poisoning, you will understand when I say, I don't want to do that. I'm not prepared to take the risk. It is really important that you follow the guidelines. They are there for a reason, especially with pressure canning. Botulism, you can't see it. You can't smell it. You can't taste it. It's just in there. And you will open that jar and you'll go, oh, it smells fine. Dip your finger and do the taste. Tastes fine. You'll eat it and you'll go, oh, that's fine. And within a few hours, you'll be so sick and your family will be so sick. You'll be so sick you won't be able to call for the ambulance. So it is not worth the risk. To me, it's just not worth the risk. Lots of things, I'm like, yep, happy to take the chance, doesn't worry me. This sort of thing will not, no. It's not worth it to me. It's not worth it. Now, I know I'm on a couple of different Facebook groups and some of them can some things, and I have learnt to keep my mouth shut. because a couple of times I've gone, there is no way I would do that. And I've been held down. If you want to take the risk, it's on you. I'm not prepared to, and I won't tell anyone to. Stick to the guidelines. So if you want to watch me do a canning video, just remember it will be done by the book. Because when I am preparing food for my family, that's what I will do, by the book. It's really, really important that you thanks, Vicky. It's really important that you understand the difference and do it properly. Okay, Vicky, finally, thank you. I was talking about the things that you replaced in your pantry. Use one, replace one. Does that apply to meat? Okay. Well, these days it does. It used to be that I would do a quarterly meat shop. So every 3 months I'd go to the butcher and there was always the basics like chicken fillets, mince, whole chickens, a couple of legs of lamb, some corned beef. They would be our sort of go-tos. And if I could get anything else around it that fitted in the budget, then I would do it. These days, I'm shopping for prices. I'm shopping by price for meat at the moment. So a couple of weeks ago, I got all that mince. Over the weekend, I got more mince. A few weeks before that, Hannah wanted to go to Costco, so I went to Costco with her, and they had corned beef, and they were huge pieces. They were the biggest pieces. They came off dinosaurs, I'm sure. They were enormous pieces of corned beef, and it was $8.99 a kilo. So even at Australian Butcher, it's $9.99 a kilo. It hasn't been cheaper for a while. I did get some at IGA when it was $5.99. But I could only get a couple of pieces, and I'm glad I only got a couple of pieces because it was awful. It was just revolting. So it was just awful meat. I do not know what they did to it, but it was foul. So I got those. So I'm shopping by price at the moment. Again, about 3 weeks ago, chicken fillets were down to $5.99. So I managed to get a couple of big bags of those. So that sort of fills us up again. But it's important that I don't overspend on the meat budget. So I'm really juggling. I don't know. We were talking, I don't know whether we were talking in comments after last week's show about meat. And they were saying, how come if we're not exporting and, not exporting meat, as much cattle and stuff, why is everything going up? Well, everything's going up because it's not just one reason. It's a whole lot of interconnected reasons. So for so long, it was 9-10 years, Queensland, northwestern New South Wales, Queensland into Northern Territory were in the worst drought. It was so bad. That drought was atrocious. And it got so bad that, and I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but we have friends on Cape York, and actually they were down to their breeding stock. They had sold off everything. They had exported what they could. They had sold off everything. They were down to their breeding stock, and they were actually selling off their breeding stock. They weren't the only ones doing that, simply because there was no water, there was no feed. The cattle, and we actually were there while they were doing one of the sales, and the cattle were just, have you ever seen the cattle on Cape York? And not healthy looking cattle anyway, but they were just like walking skeletons. It was awful. Once a farmer gets to the point where he's selling his breeding stock, he's got nothing to start with again, nothing to rebuild he has to rebuy breeding stock to breed, to be able to produce enough cattle to export or sell. That takes time. It takes a lot of money. when you're in that big of a drought for so long, it's really hard. Now then, in the last couple of years, we've had no overseas workers come in to pick fruit or veggies. So again, on top of the drought, we had that, which meant that quite a lot of orchardists, quite a lot of farmers were ploughing their crops back into the ground because they just let it fall off the trees and then plough it back into the ground because they just couldn't get the people to pick it. So I think I did read it yesterday that the stone fruit crop was down by 70% because of that. So when we wondered why our peaches and apricots had such a short season, and the season's short anyway for those, this year it was so short, that was why. And not only that, they were more expensive because there was a lot less of it. So even you'll notice your tinned fruits will go up in price because there's just not the fruit there to be processed anymore. So the prices will go up. And then we had rain in outback Queensland, rain on Cape York, rain in the Northern Territory, rain in northwestern Queensland. Lovely rain. The rain didn't stop. It just kept coming. So it washed away the topsoil. It washed away any seed that had been planted, took out fences, took out sheds, took out machinery. And then, of course, in March this year, we had a massive flooding through New South Wales, which did the same thing. So it's not just one thing that causes this. It's a multitude of things, and they build up, and they all impact us as city people who just expect to be able to go to the shop and buy what we want. Has a huge impact on us. Now, so okay, yeah. So sorry, Vicky. These days, yeah, if I'm using meat, then I try to replace it as quickly as I can. Alrighty. Kerry's done that question. Cool. So Kerry answered that. Kathleen wants to know, I don't know, I'm running away here. I'm losing track, guys. Double clips, yes, that way and that way. Alrighty. Okay, Tasman here in Victoria have chicken breasts for $6.99. That's pretty good. And yeah, Beverly's mentioned the mice plague. Was rather hoping our cold snap would have moved a bit north and slowed that down. We were hoping winter would, but of course now we've got more rain and it's not quite cold enough. All right. So Wendy can read my mind. I was trying to figure out a way we could move back a bit, like extend the fence out a bit, and I could have hens, and then I could have Wayne's gone to a meeting, otherwise he'd be here rolling his eyes. I have wanted a house cow for as long as we have been married. I grew up with my good friends and neighbours, and we lived in suburban Melbourne at the time, and they had a cow in their backyard. Mind you, this was the 1970s and nobody probably cared. Mum had hens and Mrs. Greenway had a cow in the backyard. So it was like milk the cow, pass the milk over the fence, and it seemed normal to me. I would love a nice little Jersey cow in the backyard. Suit me just fine. Lucky Wayne's not here because you'd hear his eyes rolling. Yeah. Mice are doing so much damage. Julie, mice are just, and not just to the crops. They're destroying the hay. They're eating through the bales. Wayne was talking to someone. Where were they? Someone he talks to, and they'd even got into their silage. Now, you know what? People know what silage is. You dig a deep pit into the ground, and it's sort of, the pits we've always used are sort of sloping down, almost like you're building a dam or a half a dam, and you pack it with your hay, and then you pack over the top of it again, and it all just sits there, and it does sort of compost almost. Cows love it. And I have to be honest, if you've got a really good silage, really, really good silage pit, when you dig into it to open it up, how to explain it? I wouldn't say it was a pleasant smell, but it's actually earthy, I suppose. It's not rotten. If you get that rotten smell, then the silage is no good. But it's really earthy, and I used to quite like going out in the tractor if they were going to open the silage pit, just for that. It's very different. No, don't like goats, Kathleen. Goats are mean and nasty and cranky and cantankerous, and there's only room in this house for one of those, and I'm it. See, Wendy, we could have cows. I might have to look into that. I'm pretty sure there's nothing. There probably is now. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure there's nothing in the council bylaws that says we can't have a cow. Kathleen had Jersey cow. Yum, cool. Free manure. Well, you could use the manure. You can make money off that because you bag it up and sell it. $5 a bag. It's really, really good. Okay, guys, I've done it again. I'm really sorry. We've gone over time. I don't mean to do this. All right, so I have a list here of things. I've got a question to answer for Kathleen. I'll start doing some canning videos for you. Next week won't be a live show. It will probably be a premiere, simply because, yay, we're going on holidays at last. Some of you may already know this. We had booked to go to we booked months ago to go to Tasmania for 3 weeks, and then we'd come home and we had another extension to do here, and we're going with friends. So Tassie decided, when we went into lockdown, Tassie decided to close their borders to Melburnians. Well, they opened them last night. Well, we cancelled our trip last week. We just decided it was too stressful. It was too, it was just so stressful, not knowing whether we could go or not go. And there's still no guarantee that, by the weekend they haven't closed the border again. So we cancelled our trip. We didn't even rebook it. We just got our money back, which was really good. And then we thought, we will just, Wayne cancelled or postponed some of his holidays. And so we thought we would just stay home. Because there's a fair bit going on here, as always, There's always lots going on at our house. And then we were talking last night, and we can get into South Australia. Yay! So we have friends in South Australia, and on my bucket list, of all the places I've been in Australia, Flinders Ranges has always been bypassed for some reason. Flinders Ranges is on my bucket list. So we will be heading off next Tuesday morning for a couple of weeks we'll probably head into South Australia, do the Flinders, go back up a bit and come back down the dog fence into Broken Hill and across to Menindee and down back, probably back down through Mildura, is sort of what we're thinking. If we don't do that, we'll go to Alice Springs, hightail it to Alice Springs, then out to Uluru, across to the Olgas, and then slowly work our way home. So I will be checking in, but I won't have reliable internet for me to be able to do live shows. So they'll all be pre-records, and hopefully with this whiz-bang fantastic 4G triple T 2900 or whatever, I don't know what it is, some fantastic thing that we have from Telstra, I should be able to get on just about anywhere, apparently. We will see. But that's what will happen. So I'll be away for a couple of weeks, but there will be shows, and that will give me time to work on some canning videos for you too. Wayne wants me to do some camp cooking. He said I should start the cooking shows up again with camp cooking, so maybe I will. Who knows? But yeah, so I won't be back personally next week, but there will be a show. Thank you so much for joining me. Please remember, thumbs up always helps us. Subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell. Have a great week, everybody. Happy cheapskating. Stay safe, stay warm, stay healthy. And I'll be back with full of news in a couple of weeks. Good night.